Hello boys and girls, today we are going to be watercolor painting. You'll want to have a watercolor set, a brush, a container of water, a pencil or a crayon, and maybe some paper towel. We are going to be creating a hand print heart that ends up looking like two hands forming a heart in the center. And we're going to use our own hand to trace on a folded piece of paper. And after we make our cuts, because it's on a fold, we're going to create two hands after just tracing one. But we want to make sure our hands are in a certain position. So I'll go really slowly and I'll stop and start and help you out. We're also going to be painting these. And if you don't have your paints, that's okay. All right, boys and girls, we are going to first do a tracing of our hands to form a heart inside of our hands. So you take a piece of paper, you make sure you fold properly and bring the edges together. Always bring your edges together before you make your fold. Press and make sure you know where your fold is. This time it's right here. Now I need to place my hand and trace so that part of my hand has the shape of a heart. You see this? It's upside down, but it's the shape of a heart. So I'm going to carefully make sure my fingertip is here. These fingers are going to be on their own. This is going to fit on the fold, and so will the thumb. Okay, so this is the heart. I'm just going to carefully trace on the inside of these fingers. Go nice and slow. You see this little shape? It's upside down right now, but it's going to turn out to be a heart. And my hand, I'm not going to do my wrist. I'm going to stop at the hand. I'm going to trace around. I will trace this with something a little darker so you can see it better. There we go. I'm sure you can't see that very well, so what I'll do is I'll take my eraser and fix some of these lines. Always use your pencil in such a way that the tool, like the eraser, is useful to your artwork. These lines are a guide, but they're not your permanent lines necessarily. You can fix things up and erase them. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to try to draw this a little bit darker. Now, this finger, the pointing finger, is going to touch the fold. This is going to be my heart, half of a heart. It's not going to look exactly like a heart. It'll get that general idea. And maybe I'll make this finger a little thicker. All right, I think you can see that pretty well. I'm going to clean up my lines. All right, heart hands. And notice all this was drawn on the fold. So you can see the half heart, the finger touches the fold. I'm sorry, the thumb touches the fold, and so does this pointing finger. These are loose. So let's give it a moment. Let's give it a moment to cut this out. So I'm going to start with the surrounding paper first. Cut a little bit away. Remember, we're on a fold, so it's going to double. You can see already. It's symmetrical. All right. And now I'm just going to start from this fingertip and cut over to the next fingertip. Always moving very carefully to get a nice accurate cut. Cut away this piece. I'm going to cut away the section that's going to look like the heart. I think it'll be a little exaggerated, but that's okay. You get the idea. Now, make sure you don't cut away the thumb because it's holding the piece together, or this pointing finger is holding the piece together with the fold. Oh, this is what this heart will look like. A little bit different than your classic heart, but it's okay. I'm going to turn carefully and go carefully around these fingers. It's hard to see. And there we go. And then we can color on here or paint. It's your decision. I'm always trying to be very careful with my cutting on the line. There we go. Next one. Now, as you can see, the heart is going to be the negative space, not the positive. Here's the positive. The negative space is the absent of a heart. Here we go. And my little pinky. There we go. See how it looks when we open it up? I'm going to flip it upside down so you can see it. Oh, nice. I'm pretty happy with that. Oops, I bumped this. So you can paint it. You could color on it. We could have messages on it. This would be a lovely Valentine for someone special. Especially family and moms. All right. Thank you. I'm going to do a watercolor wash with this piece. So I have to first remember to put a little water and wet all my colors because the watercolor pigment is not loosened until you add water. See, I've used a lot of blue this year. I'm running out of blue. I'll just use colors that I don't generally use. And what I think I might do is give that a moment to soak. Now, of course, you can mix some of your own colors on the side of your palette after these loosen up a bit. I'm going to move this out of my way. And I'm going to place something down so I don't get my table completely wet. I'm trying to save my paper. Okay, always make sure you give yourself some paper towel. You can use old ones, no problem. Reuse them. Now, okay, I think I'll be using this piece of glass so I don't get my table completely dirty and so that you can see my work. I'm just going to put some green underneath it. There we go. All right, I'm going to do a wash. You can always go into your work with a permanent marker like a Sharpie or some sort of permanent marker if you wanted to write a message. I think I'm going to just have mine painted first and I'll think about adding a message later. Now I'm going to do a wash. So I'm going to add water and then I'm just going to touch it with color. Try that again. It's all wet. And you see how it moves differently? It's very different than your classic painting on the brush. Let's try that again. A little water. Be careful. If you add too much, you rip your paper. So I'm trying to work kind of quickly so don't rip it. You can see it's already a little harsh on this paper, but I really like the effect. If you let this paper dry, it shouldn't rip. And you can, soak up extra water just to protect your paper. Okay. I'm going to do a little wash here. I'm going to move from red, orange to yellow. dabbing. I might not only do a wash, I might do partial wash and partial just basic watercolor painting. There we go. I like that look. Oh, that's too dark. Sorry about that. Sorry about the light right in the middle. I apologize today. Okay, I want to move from red to orange to yellow. I'm trying to go through the whole spectrum here. Yellow. Might do another wash over here, loosen up the color. And I'm going to move into green. Washed my brush. Ooh, and I get a nice mix here. It's really fun with watercolors to be able to move into colors, different colors, gradually. So I'm sort of moving from reds to oranges to yellows to greens to blue and indigo and violet. I'm going to wet my paper a little. Pick up some blue. This is pretty dark blue. And it's mixing with the green a little bit. And I want to end this one in indigo, violet, two different types of purples. Let's see what I've got here. That's a darker, it's more indigo. And wash my brush. And whew, violet. Nice. Because it's on glass right now, it's gonna be soaking in a lot of that water. So I did this side, I moved it through a spectrum. You don't have to do a spectrum. Let's see. I'm going to move into yellow, into green. Wetting my brush, wetting the paper, picking up a little green, making sure it touches and kind of mixes softly, pulling it over. When you're mixing colors together like this, you kind of have to work fast. And over here, I'm going to go into blues. And blue. I don't want a straight line here, so I'm going to soften it with water. Blue into indigo. Your smaller sets might not have violet and indigo. It probably has one type of purpley color. Washing my brush and ending in this pinky. I don't know if you can see that in the dark, but it's not as shiny now. So I'm gonna let this dry. Or I could take this paper towel and pick up some of the water. And voila. Thank you, boys and girls.